All right, here we go. Most generational prospect at every position since 2000. I'm assuming they're meaning like college prospects coming into the league would be my best guess. Yeah, let's check out this video.
There have been some total freaks that have entered the NFL.
That highlight was my favorite highlight my entire childhood. I'm going back one more time.
There have been some total freaks that have entered the NFL. Every once in a while, they get dubbed a generational prospect due to their otherworldly size and athleticism. Fans and media alike are dazzled by the pre-draft hype of these types of prospects because, well, they don't come around every year. In today's video, we will look at every position's most generational prospect since 2000, with one exception. We'll go over what made each of these prospects special entering the NFL, as well as give a brief summary as to how their NFL careers went. Now,
what do we mean one exception? What could possibly be the twist in this kind of video?
I will say I'm not going to go over literally every position. Kickers, punters, and long snappers are off the table. I've also simplified the whole offensive line to just one overall hyped prospect, as well as combining other positions like inside and outside linebacker and free and strong safety. Alright, with that said, let's kick things off with the signal caller. The most generational quarterback prospect since 2000 has to be Andrew Luck.
Man, I miss Andrew Luck. I admit everybody knows where they were the day Andrew Luck retired.
To the 2012 NFL Draft, they were calling this guy the best prospect since John Elway entered the NFL back in 1983. Coincidentally, they both played for Stanford. From a physical standpoint, Luck was a freak. He stood at 6'4" and around 240 pounds, with a strong arm and had the athletic ability to escape the pocket. Physical skills alone made Luck an intriguing first-round prospect, but this wasn't what truly made him great. Luck had elite intangibles, from his legendary work ethic to being one of the most intelligent football players both on and off the field. He had both the instinctual feel for the game, as well as the capacity to understand the game at its most complex levels. Beyond the physical and mental traits, Luck thrived in a pro-style system at a school that was historically irrelevant at football, and Luck carried them to wild success during his time there. Scouts were hard-pressed to find any weaknesses in Luck's game. It was no surprise when he went number 1 overall to the Colts in 2012.
Oh, this play. Unbelievable. The one problem is, I don't think he loved football enough.
Right away, Luck was a total beast in the pros. He led the Colts to an 11-5 record, putting up over 4,300 passing yards. Now, he did turn the ball over a lot as a rookie, but it was extremely clear how gifted Luck was. He proceeded to become one of the top quarterbacks in the league by 2014 after leading the NFL in touchdown passes and taking the Colts to the AFC title game. It just felt like a matter of time before the Colts were going to be playing in a Super Bowl with their young superstar quarterback. However, things began to shift and
this makeshift photo in the background is fucking killing me.
Injuries became the theme of Luck's career after 2014. He missed 9 games in 2015 due to a lacerated kidney and a partially torn ab muscle. He also tore his labrum in his throwing shoulder, and this would be an injury that he battled for the next 2 seasons. Then he missed the entire 2017 season due to a surgery for this injury. And finally, after battling through a gritty 2018 season where he won Comeback Player of the Year, he said no mas. Luck surprisingly retired in 2019, citing the mental and...
It's giving me Joe Burrow vibes. Obviously, Joe Burrow's not the prospect that Andrew Luck was, but the whole getting hurt every single year, winning the Comeback Player of the Year, never really getting over the hump. It's giving me Joe Burrow vibes.
Physical toll he had endured for years. This news was a shock to the entire league, as Luck was just 29 years old. His style of play was pretty reckless.
Hot take, Joe Burrow retires in the next 4 seasons,
leading him to taking a ton of hits. Even though he was 240 pounds, the brutality of the NFL can catch up to you quickly. Now, before we continue on to our next player, this video is
no free ads.
You're getting a good deal.
No free ads.
Peterson. Peterson was the number.
My God, I love Adrian Peterson. I got an Adrian Peterson jersey for Christmas when I was 10 years old. I fucking loved Adrian Peterson, dude.
One recruit coming out.
It was kind of hard to love the Bills, but I fucking loved some AP.
of high school and was so hyped up that Coach O tried some drastic measures to get him to USC.
I said, well, Adrian, what is the key to getting you here at USC? He says, Coach, well, Bob Stoops, my dad is incarcerated. Bob Stoops won't see him. Adrian said, Coach, my dad is be able to watch my games where he's at. Well, if I go to Oklahoma, I tried to get the guy transferred to Los Angeles.
Wait, you tried to get Adrian's dad?
Yeah, tried.
While at Oklahoma, Adrian
All-time football guy voice, Coach O. All-time football guy voice.
Peterson lived up to the hype. As a prospect, he was once described as a Greek god. He once ran a 100-meter in 10.26 seconds in high school, which gives reason to believe that he could have been an Olympic sprinter. And that speed was
Was that good? I don't know Olympic sprinting. I feel like that's good. I feel like 10 seconds is good.
not even his most valuable skill set on the field. Peterson's unique running style is instantly recognizable. Upright, explosive, powerful, and most of all, extremely violent. He's tall for a running back at 6'1", and ran upright, which was unusual. But he was able to lower his pad level instantaneously, and he ran so violently that he destroyed any sorry defender in his path. Combine that with his 10-2 speed, and you have a generational talent. He was a battering ram
Who says 10-2 speed? Say it's 40.
that no defender wanted any part of. As a pure runner, he became the gold standard of this last generation, and he went 7th overall to the Vikings in 2007.
On first down, back to Adrian Peterson in the ground game. Cuts inside a block, inside the 40, up the sideline, and he's
Oh my god. I love Adrian Peterson.
Immediately, Adrian Peterson was one of the top backs in the league as a rookie, and then by the end of his second year, he led the league in rushing yards. It was clear that his generational talent translated. Peterson lasted 10 years in Minnesota, putting together multiple all-time special seasons, including his 2,000-yard season in 2012. That year may be the most impressive season ever by a running back, considering he did it not even a year removed from tearing his ACL. As many expected him to be, Peterson was the best running back of his era.
And he'll add to that total. Breaking into the open field. And he shoves away one and blasts his way into the end zone.
I think he's a
Following
rookie
his
there.
final year in
Pretty sure he's a
Minnesota,
rookie there.
Peterson sort of became a journeyman, playing for a bunch of different teams. By the end, he was a shell of himself.
Just forget
serving
about
the
this
role
part.
Mostly as a backup on different teams. His career pretty much came to a close because nobody was willing to sign him after the 2021
Titans.
season. But
That looks photoshopped. That doesn't look like a real picture.
still, this doesn't take away from how insane his prime was. He's currently 5th all-time in career rushing yards, and it's a lock to be inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2027. The most generational receiver prospect since 2000 was no doubt Calvin Johnson. When Calvin Johnson's pro day
Dog.
and NFL Combine performances were complete, what scouts had witnessed left them dumbfounded. At a monstrous 6'5" and 240 pounds with a 6'10" wingspan, Calvin Johnson ran a 4.35 40, put up a 42.5-inch vertical jump, and jumped 11 feet 7 inches in the broad jump at Georgia Tech's Pro Day. If that would have been performed at the Combine, it would have set the record at the time. And what's amazing is beyond his freakish athleticism, Calvin Johnson was insanely good as a football player. The dude played at Georgia Tech, an average level ACC team with a run-first, spread option offense. They were one of the worst passing offenses in the conference year in and out during that time period. And despite all that, Johnson led the
How did Georgia Tech get Calvin Johnson? Today he's transferring. There's no way he stays at Georgia Tech. Blech. For a receiver, a wide receiver wearing 21 playing at Georgia Tech is nasty work. That's foul.
conference in receiving yards in 2005 and 2006. He also led the conference in catches and touchdowns in 2006, despite Georgia Tech finishing dead last in total completions in the ACC. Their offense was basically run, F it. Where's 21? Get him the ball. What happens when you max out your physical ability and catching attributes on a Madden Create-A player? You get Calvin Johnson. On top of that,
That's never happening today in today's game, where there's some just completely dominant player at a small school. I guess Georgia Tech's not a small school, but like the type of dominance Calvin Johnson had isn't. They're going to Georgia or they're going to Texas or Alabama soon as they break out.
There was no character concerns with him. Johnson was selected 2nd overall by the Lions in 2007.
I lied. Maybe Ashton Genty. I'd say Ashton Genty did that.
Brown to Johnson. Picking his weight, puts a stiff arm. He's got the first and then some. There goes Calvin Johnson. Touchdown.
Unsurprisingly, Calvin Johnson immediately became the star of the Lions' pass attack. He was given the nickname Megatron by teammate Roy Williams as a rookie due to his size and stature. By 2008, he led the league in receiving touchdowns and put up monster numbers despite how terrible the team was around him. He started to dominate even more with the addition of Matt Stafford. By 2011, Megatron was unguardable, a matchup nightmare for even the league's best corners. He led the league in 2011 in receiving yards. Then he set the all-time record in 2012 with 1,964 yards.
There's Stafford, who took a hit, firing for the end zone. It is caught.
Oh my
He retained this elite level play until his surprising retirement after 2015. Calvin Johnson rarely missed games, but the toll of playing for a bad team like he did his whole career wore him down. It's tough to play as brutal a game as pro football and lose so much more than you win. His sudden retirement, despite still dominating, was an all too familiar reminder to Lions fans of what they had experienced years prior with Barry Sanders. The most generational tight end prospect
Kyle
since
Pitts.
2000
Yep.
is a little tougher to say just one name.
No,
but I
it's
think
Kyle
the one that
Pitts.
stands out the most from a pre-draft hype perspective has got to be Kyle Pitts.
I'm still not out on Kyle Pitts. I guess he had a good season, but I'm saying like take over the league. I'm not out on Pitts yet, man.
Take everything I said about Calvin Johnson physically and apply it to a
Sadiq may be a better. No, because he's not going top 10. Yeah, I'd stick with Pitts.
player who's bigger. Pitts was nicknamed Unicorn because, well, guys this physically gifted don't exist. The dude was 6'6", 245 pounds, ran a 4.4, and won the award for the best tight end in college football. Kyle Pitts possessed excellent ball skills and could line up in line, in the slot, or outside due to his athleticism. Scouts saw him as some sort of hybrid between Darren Waller and Calvin Johnson. He was a true matchup nightmare that nobody wanted to try and
Darren Waller?
guard. His ability to contort to catch passes at his size was a trip to witness. It wasn't a big shock when Pitts became the highest drafted tight end in NFL draft history, going 4th overall in 2021 to the Falcons. Now, Kyle Pitts is still in his mid-20s at the time of this video's publishing, but so far his career's been a bumpy road. He was a star right off the bat with a 1,000-yard season as a rookie, and that Pro Bowl level season felt like the beginning of something special, but the next few years left something to be desired. His underwhelming 2020
We're not out. We're not out. Look, it's touchdowns killing me. Look at this. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every dollar you have, put it on Kyle Pitts to have 6 touchdowns this year. We'll be rich.
season was cut short due to a knee injury. And
Oh,
the following 2
Jesus.
seasons, he performed rather average.
I don't remember that
This
play.
was a far cry from the generational dominance most expected when he entered the league. 2025 was a step in the right direction though, as he saw career highs in receptions and touchdowns, earning him second-team All-Pro honors.
93 yards, Cousins going that way again. He's got it.
Man, I miss football. That just gave me chills. I miss football,
Like
man.
I said, he's still in his mid-20s. Pitts might not have lived up to expectations yet, but he still has time to develop into something special. That may lead to some eye rolling from some of you because that's what everyone's been saying for the last 5 years. For the most generational offensive tackle prospect,
Taylor Lewan. Is that a bad take? That might be a bad take.
I'm gonna break the rules a little bit and go back to 1997 when Orlando Pace was projected to be possibly the greatest prospect ever, not just as a tackle, but as a football player. At Ohio State,
Why don't you just keep going back? Go right to Larry Allen.
Pace had become the stuff of legend. Whenever an offensive lineman knocks a defender on his back, it's called a pancake. And Pace was known as the Pancake Man.
These Football the Gathering cards are fucking killing me.
He apparently recorded 80 pancake blocks during his junior season. The nickname had become so popular that Ohio State's athletic department distributed Orlando Pace pancake magnets during his final season. At 6'6" and 334 pounds, this dude straight mauled anybody in his path. He was so dominant that he finished 4th in the Heisman race as an offensive lineman. That is unheard of. Pace didn't allow a sack his final 2 years at Ohio State and won numerous awards, including being named to the NCAA football All-Century team.
That's a big
He was a
boy.
high character guy as well, and he went #1 overall to the Rams in 1997. Pace quickly developed into a cornerstone for the Rams offense, and his presence became a huge factor
You think he reads these books? Not a chance he reads these books.
into what became known as the greatest show on turf in 1999. That season, the Rams set all kinds of offensive records, and Pace was one of the heroes on that team, earning first-team All-Pro honors. This was also the first of 7 Pro Bowl appearances in a row for him. Pace's level of play was consistently dominant for the better part of 12 seasons in St. Louis. It was no surprise to anyone when he was eventually inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2016. For the most generational interior defensive lineman prospect since 2000,
Sue? No. Jadeveon Clowney.
it's gotta be Ndamukong Suh.
No, it's got to be Jadeveon Clowney.
Being the biggest and strongest player on the field at all times, with a name that literally means House of Spears, Suh
He's got to be talking defensive tackle. Because Myles Garrett or Jadeveon Clowney.
is as scary a football player as it gets. He possessed a terrifying combination of strength, high motor, and power that made him unblockable. Honestly, even against double teams. Suh also finished as a Heisman finalist, which is remarkable considering it's primarily an offensive award.
That is
He
crazy.
completely dominated at Nebraska, but one particular game versus
Colt
Texas
McCoy.
truly showcased how terrifying Suh could be. Going into the Big 12 championship, Texas was heavily favored. However, Suh single-handedly kept Nebraska in that game, virtually being in the backfield every play. He finished with 12 tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 7 tackles for loss. I'm sure Colt McCoy still has PTSD thinking about that day. Despite losing, many consider it one of the greatest performances ever by a defensive lineman in a college football game. Suh was selected #2 overall by the Lions in 2010.
I refuse to believe that we leave out Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney.
I like Vincent Jackson from San Diego. And that ball tipped up and intercepted. And Ndamukong Suh, the second
Mario Williams.
round pick, or second pick overall.
Right away, Suh terrorized offenses. He was arguably the best interior D lineman in the league as a rookie. He earned first-team All-Pro honors and looked like he would be a staple on Detroit's defense for years.
McNabb in trouble, and Suh has got him, and Ndamukong Suh.
Pretty crazy to think in 2010 the Lions had Suh reigning terror, Calvin Johnson entering his prime, and Matt Stafford, one of the better quarterback prospects in recent memory, also coming into his own. Yet, nothing too great ever materialized for that team outside of individual success for players like the ones I said. Suh himself would continue to dominate while in Detroit, although he did earn the reputation as a dirty player for moments like this and this. He eventually left Detroit and still was a high-end player for the Dolphins early on, but he eventually kind of just became a good to average starter by the time he was 30. Suh's case for the Hall of Fame is intriguing because he had one of the most dominant 7-year runs to start a career for an interior
I don't know if I'd put Sue in the Hall of Fame.
D lineman, but he was
Is that a hot take?
pretty average after that, so I don't know. He may make it one day, but we'll see. For the most generational defensive
Here we go. Here it is.
prospect since 2000, it has to be Jadeveon Clowney. Bucky Brooks dubbed him a meaner, nastier version of Julius Peppers, who on his own right was considered a generational talent back in 2002.
It's a good
Ever
take.
since Clowney was in high school, he
Mario Williams made the cut. I like that.
had a larger-than-life aura surrounding him. The former #1 overall recruit had a 105 out of 100 grade on 24/7 Sports. In fact, he's also the website's highest rated high schooler since 2000. Then at South Carolina, Clowney's sheer presence, even just standing around, was intimidating. And by the end of his sophomore year, he was
So disappointing. He could have been Hall of Fame.
putting up monster numbers. The man was an athletic marvel, possessing otherworldly speed and power at his size. He clocked in an unofficial 4.47 at the combine at 266 pounds. That is scary. He was already considered the future #1 overall pick throughout most of his time in college. But in his final college performance, he made possibly the most famous defensive play of the last 25 years. After a clear and obvious mistake made by the refs to give Michigan a first down,
This is possibly one of the coolest sequences in football history.
Clowney, on the next play, burst through the line untouched, then absolutely pummeled Michigan's running back, forcing both a fumble and the player's helmet to come off. Clowney proceeded to snatch up the ball with one hand before being taken down. This play took Clowney's already impressive status and cemented him as a college football legend. Nobody was surprised when he went #1 overall to the Houston Texans. Things got off to a bumpy start for Clowney. He barely played as a rookie due to injury, and then that continued in year 2 as he missed more games. It really wasn't until year 3 that we saw that crazy potential begin to come to fruition.
They hand it to him, and he's going to be dropped for a loss by Jadeveon Clowney.
Houston's defense had finally found a role for Clowney to fit, and he earned second-team All-Pro honors in 2016. This kicked off a 3-year stretch that saw Clowney at his best in the pros. He was an above-average to great edge rusher at times, who was excellent in run support. But this was his peak. Clowney became sort of a mercenary-type player after that.
Murray on 3rd and 2. Pressure coming. He's in trouble, and down he goes.
He would have great moments, like his first year in Cleveland and his second season in Baltimore. However, no one would argue that he's been a dominant player for most of his career. Mostly, he's been an average NFL starter with some good moments. I also think it doesn't help that he's seemingly on a new team every year. It makes it hard for any fan base to really rally around him. Overall, good NFL starter, but certainly not generational.
Jadeveon Clowney had to have made a bag.
Now for the next position, I'm combining both inside and outside linebackers.
Sonny Styles. Luke Kuechly's probably up there. Inside and outside. Well, are we counting like a Von Miller as an outside linebacker? I wouldn't.
And for the most generational linebacker prospect since 2000, it's close. But I think LeVar Arrington carried the most hype coming into the NFL.
Sonny Styles.
This dude was arguably the biggest star in college football at the time. Arrington was freakishly athletic and exceptionally productive. There was a good amount of analysts that were comparing him to Lawrence Taylor, the greatest defensive player ever.
The big shoulder pads are so tough. God, I love the big shoulder pads.
Arrington was seen as a sideline-to-sideline tackling machine. Similar to Clowney, Arrington made arguably the most famous defensive play of the 1990s. On a critical 4th and 1 for Illinois, Arrington timed the snap count perfectly, leaping over the line and took down the ball carrier to get the stop.
During Pee Wee football, I did this every single play. I got 12 sacks in one game.
As Illinois
Something light.
Coach Ron Turner said a year later, quote, "I'll remember that when I'm 85. It became known as the LeVar Leap, and it helped take his hype to the next
Wrong. It's the Troy Polamalu.
level. Washington selected him 2nd overall in 2000.
Line of the 49ers. Rattay looking for help, and he is going to get knocked down and for 3 by LeVar Arrington.
By year 2 in Washington, Arrington was a force. We saw that sideline-to-sideline ability he possessed in college coming to fruition. He made 3 straight Pro Bowls from 2001 to 2003, earning second-team All-Pro twice. But injuries took a toll on his career after 2003. He missed more than half the games from 2004 to 2006. And that final year, he ruptured his Achilles, which is one of the worst injuries an NFL player can endure.
Jesus.
To make matters worse, in 2007, right before training camp, Arrington was involved in a serious motorcycle accident in Maryland that gave him a broken right arm, broken lower vertebrae, and deep cuts in his leg. It was really bad, and just months later, he announced his retirement from the NFL. It was a really brutal way for his career to be cut short. For the most
How long did he play? Are we going Pat Pete here? Yeah, I don't hate that take at all. I think it's got to be Pat Pete here.
generational cornerback prospect since 2000, that honor goes to Patrick Peterson.
I wonder who the honorable mentions are.
In a loaded draft class that included Cam Newton, Von Miller, AJ
Revis. I just had this debate the other day about Jalen Ramsey. I can't remember what it was. I was saying top 10 corner all the time. All time. I got to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure I was saying Ramsey's a top 10 corner of all time.
Green and Julio Jones.
The field's not as good as you think it would be.
There were analysts that felt like Patrick Peterson was the top overall prospect that year. Peterson had everything you'd want in a corner. He had elite size and elite speed, while also possessing strength, hip fluidity, and ball skills to be a lockdown man-on-man press corner against anybody. Peterson's size at corner, with his level of athleticism, was exceptional. He ran a low 4.3 and was slightly heavier than running back Adrian Peterson when he came into the NFL. This made Patrick Peterson way above the average cornerback weight by about 25 pounds. On top of being the best cornerback prospect in recent memory, Peterson was also a game-breaking playmaker in the return game, taking home SEC Special Teams Player of the Year in 2010 for his returning ability. He ended up getting selected 5th overall by the Arizona Cardinals in 2011.
What a dog.
Peterson on the return. He's got good speed. He's got a couple blockers. Patrick Peterson goes all the way.
Right away, this dude completely dominated. He was an impact starter as a cornerback, and as a return man, he was elite. He returned 4 punts for touchdowns. This tied the all-time record for a single season, which is remarkable. The following year, Peterson wreaked havoc on opposing offenses. He picked off 7 passes and recovered a league-high 5 fumbles. This was on top of his elite corner play. And for the next decade or so, Peterson was in the conversation for who was the best corner in the game. He began his career making 8 straight Pro Bowls.
No conversation.
With 3 of those seasons being named first-team All-Pro. Prior to retiring, Peterson was one of the active leaders in career interceptions, and in a few years, he's most likely going to be a Hall of Fame candidate. He might not be on the first ballot, but eventually he probably will make it in. After all, the dude made the All-2010s team and was a top 5 corner for pretty much his entire career. For the most generational safety prospect
Yeah, I guess it'd be Sean Taylor.
since 2000, Sean Taylor takes the cake. Taylor was as intimidating a college safety as you could get. At 6'3" and 230 pounds,
Yeah, there's no competition. There's no competition. It's not even close.
Taylor was a straight menace in run support, known for his brutal hits, while also being a quarterback's worst nightmare in coverage, hauling in 10 interceptions, 3 for touchdowns as a junior at Miami. He was big, fast, smart, instinctual, and played with his hair on fire. He was like having an extra elite corner in coverage, while also having a run-stuffing linebacker against the run. Sean Taylor was truly as complete a safety prospect as we've seen in my lifetime. There was really no weaknesses in his game. How insane is it to think that back in 2001 at Miami, Ed Reed was their starting free safety, and freshman Sean Taylor was his backup. Taylor was selected 6th overall by Washington in 2004. Of course, the story of Sean Taylor's pro career is a tragic one. By year 3, he had developed into one of the best safeties in the game, and the following year, he was having a career year. But in the middle of the season, Taylor was shot during a home invasion and did not survive. It was devastating news to the league and fans. In the team's following game, Washington played with just 10 players on their first defensive snap to honor Taylor. And to end this video, I'll honor Sean Taylor by showing one of his sickest moments as a player. Nowadays, everyone
Pro Bowl. Yeah, Pro Bowl.
complains about how bad the Pro Bowl is. It's literally just a game of flag football now, which honestly will never be close to as entertaining as tackle football. People will always
Poor Brian Moorman. Bills punter. Poor Brian Moorman. He was just trying to have fun.
always point to how much more competitive and better the game was back in the day. And one particular play always seems to come up in this discussion.
Brian Morgan is going to fake it on the run, and he's going to come up short. Oh!
You see how quick he popped back up, though.
Brian Morgan is going to fake it on the run, and he's going to come up short. Oh!
I think that's almost as impressive as the hit. Oh my god. Man, that was a good ass video. Oh, that was the surprise. Okay. Man, that was a good ass video. You have no idea how much I want to hear about generational long snappers. Yeah, that was a good ass video. All right, that's going to do it. Be good, do good, God bless, and go like and subscribe.